The bridge of the human warship Iron Will was quiet, except for the soft hum of computers and the occasional beep from control panels. Captain Lee Hannah sat in her command chair reading reports from the outer edge of human space. She had been patrolling this area for 3 years, and the most exciting thing she usually found was smugglers trying to sneak past the border. Hannah was a small woman with short black hair and sharp eyes that missed nothing. She had grown up on Earth's moon colonies, where one mistake could kill you and your whole family. Like most humans, she was tough in ways that other species found hard to understand. Captain called Park Jin-ho from the communications station. His voice sounded worried. "We're getting a signal. It's not from any human ship." Hannah turned to look at him. In all her years of service, they had never received a message from aliens. Humans knew other species existed, but contact was rare, and usually happened through official channels on Earth. "Put it on the main screen," she ordered. The large display at the front of the bridge flickered, and then showed something that made everyone stop what they were doing. A tall, thin creature with pale blue skin and huge dark eyes was looking back at them. The alien's face was beautiful in a strange way, but fear and sadness filled those big eyes. "I am Chancellor Vith of the Zephyrian Coalition," the alien spoke. Its voice was musical, like singing, but shaky with emotion. "We send this message to anyone who might hear us and has the power to help us. The hegemony has attacked our worlds. Our people are dying. We do not know how to fight. We are teachers and scientists, not soldiers." The image changed to show burning cities with tall, graceful towers falling down. Elegant ships exploded in space while crowds of the blue-skinned people ran in terror. Children cried as their parents carried them toward escape ships. "We offer you our best shield technology," the Chancellor continued. "It can protect your ships better than anything in the galaxy. All we ask in return is that you help us fight. We have heard stories about your species. They say you come from a world of death and danger. They say you are what others call Deathworlders. If this is true, please help us live." The message ended, leaving the bridge in complete silence. Hannah stared at the empty screen, her mind racing. She had heard the term Deathworlder before. It was what other aliens called humans because Earth was so dangerous compared to most planets. While other species evolved on peaceful worlds with gentle weather and friendly animals, humans had survived ice ages, volcanoes, earthquakes, and creatures that wanted to eat them. Lieutenant Kim Do-yeon looked up from his station. "Captain, I'm reading massive enemy fleets in that area. Whatever's happening there, it's a big war." Hannah studied the star maps. The Zephyrian system was 3 days away if they pushed their engines to the limit. She pressed a button to open a secure channel to Earth Command. The screen showed Admiral Choi Kyung-min. It's an older man with gray hair and scars on his face from his younger days as a fighter pilot. "Hannah, I've been waiting for your call. We got the same message. Sir, I want permission to help them." The Admiral was quiet for a moment, looking tired. "The leaders on Earth are arguing about this. The hegemony isn't our enemy, and we don't know what we're getting into. Some people think we should stay out of alien wars. Since when do humans ignore people asking for help?" Hannah asked. The Admiral almost smiled. "You're right. We've never been good at minding our own business when people are in trouble." He paused, then nodded. "You have permission to respond? Take the Iron Will and the 5th Battle Group. Show them why they were smart to call us Deathworlders." Hannah felt excitement and fear mixed together in her stomach. This would be humanity's first real contact with alien civilizations, and it would be in the middle of a war. She looked around at her crew, seeing the same mixture of emotions on their faces. "Gin-ho, send a message to all ships in the 5th Battle Group. Tell them to prepare for hyperspace jump in 2 hours." "Yes, Captain." "And Jin-ho, send a reply to the Zephyrians. Tell them help is coming." As the crew rushed to prepare for departure, Hannah thought about what they were about to do. Humans had always been survivors. They had survived when giant meteors hit Earth, when ice covered most of the planet, when diseases killed millions. They had survived by being tough, by never giving up, and by helping each other, now for the first time. They would find out if those same qualities that made them Deathworlders could help save an entire alien civilization. The Iron Will turned toward the stars. carrying humanity into its first interstellar war. The human ships dropped out of hyperspace and immediately saw hell. Zephyr Prime hung in the darkness like a broken jewel, its beautiful orbital stations now twisted wreckage. Floating in space, dark enemy ships with sharp edges and glowing red lights swarmed around helpless civilian transports like sharks attacking wounded fish. All ships battle stations. Captain Hannah's voice rang across the fleet communications. Form protective. Line around the evacuation vessels. Do not let any more civilians die. The human warships moved with deadly grace, their weapons already charging. Admiral Nam Sun Woo's voice came from the flagship Relentless. Hannah, take your ship down to the planet, find their leaders, and get information. We'll handle the welcoming. Party up here. The Iron will dove toward the planet's surface, passing through clouds and over the most beautiful cities Hannah had ever seen. The buildings looked like they had grown from the ground instead of being built, with tall spires connected by bridges that curved through the air like frozen music. But many of those spires were broken now, and fires burned where gardens used. To bloom, the ship landed near the capital city's emergency command center, a building that still glowed with soft light despite the damage around it. Hannah took a small team with her, including Lieutenant Omayin, who was their best at understanding alien technology. Inside the building, they met Chancellor Vith in person. The alien leader was even more striking than in the transmission. 7 feet tall, but looking fragile as paper, with skin that seemed to give off its own gentle light, and when the Chancellor tried to bow in greeting, Hannah could see the movement was difficult, as if the alien was struggling with the planet's gravity. Captain Lee, Chancellor Vith said, trying to stay calm but clearly exhausted. I must admit, I had hoped for more ships. We brought what we could, Hannah replied carefully. Tell me about your enemy. Ayan was already studying the holographic displays that showed the current battle. Captain, look at this. The enemy uses simple tactics. They just throw huge numbers of ships at their targets until the defenders give up. Chancellor Vith's shoulders dropped. The hegemony is conquered. 12 systems this way. They rely on fear and overwhelming force. Most species surrender when they see how many ships are coming. Most species, Hannah repeated. But not all? The few who tried to fight were destroyed quickly. We've been resisting for 4 months. But we are losing badly. The Chancellor's voice became even sadder. We are not warriors, Captain. We value life too much to take it easily, even to save ourselves. But the hegemony kills without thought. Communications Officer Yoon Jae-yen looked up from his portable equipment. Captain Admiral Nam wants a tactical report. Hannah studied the information Ma Yen had gathered. The human fleet was outnumbered 5-1, but something didn't add up. Ma Yen, what are their ships actually like? Built to look scary, not to fight long battles, Ma Yen answered. And Captain, their crews can't handle high gravity or strong acceleration. Look at these medical reports the Zephyrians shared. When hegemony soldiers board their ships, they move slowly and get tired quickly. They're from worlds with light gravity and calm weather. What about their weapons? Powerful, but not very accurate. They're designed to destroy big targets, not to fight against small, fast ships. Hannah felt a cold smile cross her face. The kind of smile that had made her enemies nervous since she was a child fighting bullies in the lunar colonies, so they're used to fighting people who give up easily. Yes, Captain. They've never faced an enemy that fights harder when cornered. Chancellor Vith was watching their conversation with growing hope. You speak as if you have a plan. We do, Hannah said. The hegemony has made a mistake. They think all species are like the ones they've conquered before. Peaceful people who surrender when things get difficult. Are humans not peaceful? The Chancellor asked. Hannah thought about Earth's history. The wars, the disasters, the thousands of years of struggle that had made humanity strong. We can be peaceful. But we're also from a world that tried to kill us every day for millions of years. We learned to fight back. I was nodding as she studied more data. Captain, their ships are designed for intimidation. They're big and scary looking, but they're not built for the kind of close combat that humans prefer. And their crews panic when battles don't go as planned.
Then we
don't give them what they expect, Hannah decided. We don't fight the way they want us to fight. Chancellor Vith looked confused. I do not understand. You will, Hannah promised. She opened communications with the fleet. Admiral Name, I'm sending tactical data. The enemy has a weakness. Kind of weakness? They've never fought Deathworlders before. As the human fleet prepared to show the hegemony what real warriors looked like, Chancellor Vith watched through the command center's windows. For the first time in months, the elegant alien leader felt something other than despair. Hope was a dangerous thing to feel, but as the human ships moved into attack formation, it was impossible to ignore. Admiral Nam Sunwoo stood on the bridge of the Relentless. Watching the tactical display where red enemy ships outnumbered his blue fleet markers by 5-1, his second-in-command, Commander Seo Hunwoo, waited quietly beside him, knowing the Admiral was planning something that would surprise everyone. Sir, conventional attack formations are ready, reported the tactical officer. Cancel those orders, Nam said calmly. We're not fighting a conventional battle. Within an hour, the human strategy became clear, and it was unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. Instead of meeting the hegemony in large fleet battles, human forces struck like lightning. Small groups of fighters, led by pilots like Lieutenant Ko Taijin, used their incredible reflexes to execute moves that would kill most alien species. Enemy fighters coming in, Taijin reported over his radio as his squadron dove toward a group of hegemony ships. They're moving in a straight line, just like the intelligence said. Taijin pulled his fighter into a sharp turn that pressed him deep into his seat. The force would have knocked most aliens unconscious, but humans had evolved. On a world with strong gravity and constant danger, 7 Gs of force was uncomfortable but manageable. Hegemony fighters can't handle the pressure we can, Taijin called out as his weapons locked onto targets. They black out at 4 Gs. We're pulling 8 and still fighting. The enemy pilots, trying to follow the human maneuvers, either passed out from the force or had to slow down so much that they became easy targets. Within minutes, hegemony fighter screen was broken. But the real surprise came when Marine Lieutenant Zheng Minsu led his boarding teams against enemy capital ships. The hegemony crews, used to fighting from far away, were completely unprepared. For humans who could move in zero gravity like they were born there, Boarding Party Alpha status report came the call from the Iron Will. We're inside their command ship, Minsu replied, breathing hard but steady. The enemy crew is hiding in their safe rooms. I can't believe we came through the airlocks during a battle. What the hegemony soldiers didn't understand was that humans had spent centuries learning to fight in the most dangerous places possible. Boarding a ship during combat, moving through areas without air, fighting while wearing heavy armor. These were just normal training exercises for human Marines. Sir, they're asking us to surrender, reported Corporal Park Sun-ho, checking. His weapon? They say we're trapped. Minsu laughed. Tell them we're not trapped. They are. The psychological effect was immediate and devastating. Hegemony communications, intercepted by human intelligence, showed growing panic and confusion. These humans fight like they're already dead. One enemy captain reported. They show no fear of death or injury. They board ships through the reactor. Compartments, another message read. What kind of species considers that a safe approach? Captain Hannah, listening to these reports from her command chair, shook her head. They don't understand. We're not unafraid of death. We're just more afraid of letting innocent people die. The turning point came when Lieutenant Bae Ji-hoon led the most dangerous mission of the battle. The hegemony command ship was protected by 6 escort vessels and dozens of fighter patrols. Any normal attack would be suicide. Ji-hoon, you don't have to do this, Admiral Nam said over the secure channel. Yes, I do, Ji-hoon replied, checking his equipment one last time. My little sister died in the colony wars. Won't let it happen to someone else's family. Ji-hoon's team used magnetic clamps to attach their small transport directly to the enemy command ship's hull. Then they cut through the armor with plasma torches, a technique so dangerous that no other species had ever tried it. The risk of explosion, decompression, or cutting into something vital was enormous. We're inside, Ji-hoon reported as his team moved through the enemy ship's corridors. The crew is panicking. They don't know how to fight inside their own ship. The hegemony soldiers, trained for long-range combat, couldn't adapt to close-quarters fighting. Okay? They were used to enemies who surrendered quickly, not humans who became more dangerous when cornered. Command ship bridge secured, Ji-hoon announced. Enemy admiral is requesting terms of surrender. Tell him his terms are simple, Admiral Nam replied. Withdraw from this system immediately or face the consequences. As the massive hegemony command ship went dark, its escort vessels began pulling back. The enemy fleet, which had seemed so powerful an hour ago, was now retreating in disorder. Their communications were full of confusion and fear. Sir, reported the communications officer, we're intercepting hegemony messages. We're calling humans the dead who still fight and ghosts that walk through walls. Nam smiled grimly. Good. Fear is a powerful weapon. For the first time in months, the skies over Zephyr Prime were quiet. The orbital battle was over, and the humans had won despite being outnumbered. But Nam knew this was just the beginning, as the hegemony would be back. And next time, they would bring everything they had. All ships maintain alert status, he ordered. This was just the first round. In the silence that followed, everyone knew the Admiral was right. The real battle was still coming. The quiet lasted only 3 days. On the fourth morning, sensor operator Han Juan looked up from her console aboard the Iron Will with fear in her eyes. Captain long-range sensors are picking up something big. Really big. Captain Hannah moved to look at the display. What she saw made her blood run cold. A massive shape was moving toward the Zephyr system, bigger than anything she had ever seen in space. How big? 15 kilometers long, Captain? It's like a floating city with weapons. The main screen flickered to life, showing Chancellor Vith's worried face. The Zephyrian leader looked even more fragile than before, his blue skin pale with exhaustion. Captain Lee, we have detected the approaching vessel. It is a siege platform, designed to break planetary shields through constant bombardment. How long do your shields hold against something like that? Perhaps 6 hours, the Chancellor replied quietly. When it arrives, our world dies. Hannah called an emergency meeting with her senior officers. Engineering Chief Park Seo-jin spread out the technical scans of the siege platform on the table. It's essentially a giant weapon wrapped around a massive reactor. The power source is here, in the center. Can we destroy it with our weapons? Asked Commander Kang Do-ho. Not from now. The outside, Seo-jin replied. The armor is too thick, and it has defensive systems that would destroy our ships before we got close enough. What about from the inside? Hannah asked quietly. The room went silent. Everyone understood what she was suggesting. Captain Daeho said carefully, that would be a suicide mission. Not necessarily, Hannah replied, studying the platform's design. We have that old evacuation transport in the cargo bay. It's built to survive crashes and explosions. If we strip out everything, except life support, and pack it with explosives. The transport isn't designed for combat, Seo-jin protested. It would barely survive the approach. It doesn't have to survive, Hannah said simply. It just has to get us inside. Admiral Nam's face appeared on the communication screen. Hannah, I won't order anyone to take this mission. You don't have to, sir. We volunteer. Within hours, the modified transport was ready. Hannah had chosen 11 crew members to go with her, all volunteers who understood they might not come back. Pilot First Class Im Chow-young sat at the controls, her hands steady, despite the ship shaking as they approached the siege platform. Defensive fire incoming, Chow-young reported calmly. They're not expecting anyone to be crazy enough to fly straight at them. Transport's hull groaned as enemy weapons struck it. Warning lights flashed red as systems failed one by one. Explosive specialist Lee Jun-ho checked his equipment, making sure the charges were secure. Captain, I need 3 minutes inside their reactor room. You'll get it, Hannah promised. The transport hit the siege platform's hull like a meteor, tearing through armor and inner walls in a shower of sparks and twisted metal. The impact threw everyone forward, but human bodies, evolved on a high-gravity world, could take punishment that would kill most species. Move, move. Hannah shouted as they ran through alien corridors. The platform's crew, caught completely off guard, couldn't respond fast enough to stop them. The humans moved through the enemy vessel with deadly efficiency. Their superior speed and endurance, developed over millions of years of surviving on Earth, allowed them to outrun the defending troops. When hegemony soldiers did catch up, they found themselves facing humans who fought like cornered animals. Reactor room ahead, called out Scout Kim Hunjae to guards at the door. The guards went down before they could raise an alarm. Inside the reactor room, Junho worked with practiced skill, placing explosive charges at critical points while the rest of the team held the entrances. Charges set, Junho announced. 2 minutes until detonation. The run back to their transport was a nightmare. Alarms blared throughout the siege platform as enemy forces finally realized what was happening. Weapons fire filled the corridors. As the humans fought their way back to their ship, transport bay, 30 seconds, Hannah called out. They made it with seconds to spare. Chae-young had kept the engines running, and the moment the last person was aboard, she launched them away from the platform. The transport's hull glowed red from the heat of their violent exit. All ships. "This is Admiral Nam," came the voice. Over the radio, the siege platform is showing massive internal explosions. Behind them, the enormous weapon convulsed as its reactor went critical. 15 kilometers of metal and machinery twisted apart in a ball of fire that could be seen from the planet's surface. "Platform destroyed," reported sensor operator Han. "Guan, the debris is falling away from the planet." In the aftermath, as the human fleet regrouped, Chancellor Vitha's message came through. "We have no words for what you have done. You risked everything to save people you had never met." Hannah, her uniform torn and her face streaked with smoke, smiled tiredly. "That's what humans do. Protect people who can't protect themselves." The siege was broken, but more importantly, the galaxy had learned something new about the species, called humans. They didn't just fight hard, they fought smart, and they never gave up. 3 weeks after the siege platform's destruction, the last hegemony ships had fled from Zephyrian space. The beautiful orbital stations were being rebuilt, and the graceful spires of the planet's cities reached toward the stars once again. But something had changed in the galaxy, and word was spreading fast in the rebuilt council chambers of Zephyr. Prime Chancellor Vith stood before the assembled human officers. The alien leader looked stronger now, his blue skin glowing with renewed health. In his hands, he held a crystal that seemed to contain trapped starlight. "The Zephyrian Coalition grants humanity full access to our shield technology, as we promised," the Chancellor said formally, "but that is not enough. We also offer formal alliance between our peoples." Captain Hannah, her left arm still in a medical support from the siege platform mission, accepted the crystal. Inside, it was technology that would make human ships nearly indestructible. "The honor is ours, Chancellor." But the real changes were happening across the galaxy. Admiral Nem received reports that made him smile in amazement. His communication officer, Lieutenant Anye Jean, showed him messages from dozens of different alien species. "The Altarian Republic wants military advisors," she reported excitedly. "The Tau Collective is asking for defense agreements. The hegemony is offering a peace treaty. And, sir, we're getting requests from species we've never even heard of." Nam shook his head in wonder. 6 months ago, nobody knew humans existed. Now everyone wants to be our friend or make sure we don't become their enemy. The change wasn't just political. Stories about the human intervention had spread through trading networks, diplomatic channels, and even entertainment broadcasts. The galaxy was fascinated by these Deathworlders, who had appeared from nowhere and defeated one of the most feared military forces in known space. On the observation deck of the Iron Will, Captain Hannah looked out at Zephyr Prime's peaceful blue surface. Commander Kim Hung-seok joined her, carrying a data pad full of new orders. "The crew is asking when we go home," he said. "Soon," Hannah replied. "But I don't think we'll stay there long. Every government in the galaxy wants to meet us." "What do they want to know?" Hannah thought about it. "They want to understand what makes humans different, why we fight when others surrender, why we risk our lives for strangers." The answer came to her as she remembered Earth's violent storms, its dangerous animals, and the the countless disasters that had shaped humanity over millions of years. It's simple, really. We come from a world that tried to kill us every day, so when we see others in danger, we know exactly what to do. The proof of humanity's new reputation came in the form of urgent messages from across the galaxy. Empire, known for their military strength, was requesting human military advisors. The peaceful harmony states wanted protection agreements. Even the mysterious deep-core civilizations were sending diplomatic inquiries. But the most important message came from an unexpected source. The Hegemony Supreme Command, the same organization that had tried to destroy the Zephyrians, sent a formal communication to Earth. The Hegemony acknowledges the strength of the human species, the message read. We propose a non-aggression treaty and the establishment of neutral zones between our territories. Admiral Nam laughed when he read it. They went from trying to conquer everyone to asking us to please leave them alone. Lieutenant Anya Jean looked up from her console. Sir, intelligence reports say the Hegemony is pulling back from 3 systems they were about to invade. They're telling their commanders to avoid any area where humans might be present. The psychological impact was exactly what human strategists had hoped for. Word spread that humans were the species you called when facing impossible odds. They were the ones who would come when everyone else had given up. Chancellor Vith sent a final message that would be remembered by both species forever. Today we learned that the galaxy's greatest warriors are not those who seek to conquer, but those who cannot bear to watch others suffer. The humans call their world a death world, but they have shown us that from struggle comes the greatest strength, and from hardship comes the deepest compassion. As the human fleet prepared to leave Zephyr Prime, they left behind more than just an embassy. They had established humanity as the protectors of the weak, the species that others could call upon when hope seemed lost. The Iron Will and her sister ships turned toward home. But everyone knew this was just the beginning. The galaxy was a dangerous place, full of species like the Hegemony, who believed strength meant the right to hurt others. But now there was something new in the darkness between the stars. Humans who had learned that real strength meant protecting those who couldn't protect themselves. On worlds across the galaxy, the word spread in 100 different languages. When you need someone to stand against impossible odds, when evil seems too strong to defeat, when all hope is lost, call the Deathworlders. Call the humans. The age of human expansion into the galaxy had begun, not through conquest, but through the simple act of helping those in need. And that, perhaps, was the most human thing of all.